Hi everybody, this is Carla again. This time I'm back with a review for episode 5 of season 2 of Scorpion. This episode is titled Super Fun Guys, and as soon as I saw the title of the episode, I knew it was in for a treat. Because Super Fun Guy is, of course, Sylvester's favorite superhero comic book ever. And every time they talk about it, it's like guaranteed hilarity. Like seriously, I love when they bring up Super Fun Guy because it's such a ridiculous concept, especially now that superhero, movies and comics are like back in. It's just such a ridiculous concept that you just gotta love it. I mean, they didn't even bother trying to make a believable superhero. They just went with the craziest, most outlandish kind of image they could even possibly come to. And that says a lot about the show, because the show is kind of like that, right? It's kind of, they just think of the most outlandish things, and they make them happen in the show, and we totally buy it. I mean, we don't buy it, but we totally enjoy watching them happen just because they're fun. I mean, they don't really bother getting things to be realistic. They just throw it all out, and that's kind of what Super Fun Guy, it's kind of a meta kind of commentary on the show itself, which I love. And I also was really excited for it since I saw the title, because it told me that it would have something to do with Sly. And as you know from previous reviews, Sly is my favorite character, and I love the arc that they're giving him, with the whole Megan thing and the whole kind of, getting over his fears and learning to deal with his fears and learning to deal with responsibility despite the fact that he's anxious about pretty much everything. And the episode title immediately told me it was gonna have to do with Sly, and I was really excited to see it. Now that I've watched the episode, I have to say I really loved it. And I am kind of surprised by it, because I wasn't expecting, when they started talking about Kazakhstan, I was like, oh, no, not again. Because I don't, usually the point where I break my suspension of disbelief is when they kind of start going to other countries, and just kind of drop in and nobody notices. I just can never buy that. It's so outlandish to me, like way beyond anything I can actually overlook. But this time it was really cool, because they totally argoed their way into Kazakhstan, which I thought was great. Just the idea that a Super Fun Guy movie is going to be filming in Kazakhstan of all places, like, what? I did not know that was a new mecca of filmmaking, but okay. But it's just so ridiculous. But I like the fact that, Homeland actually did them a solid and gave them, like, background identities, like, so they could pretend to be the film crew. That was interesting, because unlike in, like, the Cuba episode that we had just a few episodes ago, where they just kind of dropped into Cuba and that's it, like, they were just dropped there in parachute, which was kind of like, what? This time, they went through the normal channels. They were just undercover. So, I can buy that up to a certain point. Now, of course, there are points where you just can't buy it, because, I mean, why would they have, like, Russian missiles in a hangar right in the same place where, where a movie's filming? Like, don't you think that's a little, conspicuous? I mean, anybody could walk in. It's kind of like, what? But, it's Scorpion. You kind of have to deal with that kind of stuff. But I really like this episode mainly because of Sly, because oh god, the whole thing with Megan and his relationship with her, and the fact that he has to deal, I mean, he's new to relationships in general. Like, this is a guy whose emotions are on his sleeve his entire life. The guy just cannot control how emotional he gets about things, and he's deathly afraid of being hurt. And here he goes, falling in love with this woman who's literally like doomed from day one. You know, he kind of has that in the back of his head the whole time, and it's not just the fact that, oh, the relationship might not work and I might get hurt. No, she might die, dude. Like, she probably will die, and he knows that because his mind is so, you know, factual that he can't just not have that in the back of his mind the entire time. And because of that, the relationship just breaks my heart every time. But I love what they're doing with it, because they're helping him mature and they're helping him figure out his priorities, and it is so great to see him take a stance, you know, because usually he's just always so wibbly wobbly about things, like, you know, up and down because he's so emotional. But I liked when he stood up to Walter and he said, you know what, I'm not going, I have something I have to do here, and I can't tell you what it is, but you have to respect that I'm not going. That was amazing. Like, his face, just his expression, it was such a great scene. And I know that Walter's like, what? Because he doesn't get it, and he's never seen Sylvester like that. So that alone tells me this is a major breakthrough for him. And I really like that. And I love Megan. She's so sweet. And it's so sad that she has to go through it. She must have been so scared, too. And I like that she truly does love Sylvester. That she's kind of leaning against him in this time of need. And they're just lovely. I love them. I love them so much. Like, seriously, I don't think I shipped them this hard in the previous season, but now I totally do. Like, God, I hope she doesn't die. God, I'm so scared now. But okay, apart from that, like, the whole Kazakhstan thing, like, it started out as an Argo thing, and I thought that was gonna last a little longer, but then it just went totally Scooby-Doo, like, halfway through, and when they came out in the costumes, I just about died laughing. Okay, that was so perfect, and I like that Kate still had a tie. That was so hilarious. And, you know, Happy in a skirt. Just the entire thing was so funny. I liked the idea of the chemistry, and I don't mean that between characters, I mean the actual chemistry happening in this episode. I did not know that you could diffuse uranium with nitric acid. I haven't actually looked it up, so I don't know if that's true or not, but I did think it was so funny that they just picked up giant uranium cores with their bare hands, not a single thought about, you know, the fact that it was freaking uranium. So that was interesting. I liked that the reaction produced nitric acid, which made Toby laugh, which is weird because it made only Toby was the one who laughed. Like, everybody else were they just not breathing or what? But that was funny. I just keep flashing back to the fact that they were handling uranium without a hazmat suit, without anything really. Like, Walter wasn't even wearing gloves. What the heck? But it's okay. I can handle it. I mean, I would have liked to see some sequels to that, like what happened after that, the consequences, whatever. I'm sure they won't show that, so it's just one of those things where I just go, oh, Scorpion, and then I just shake my head and just watch the next episode, because it's silly, but at the same time it's kind of cute. I don't know, it's one of those things you just get used to when you watch this show. I like the fact that they had to break into a chemical plant to actually get the nitric acid. I mean, obviously it was convenient that there was a chemical plant so near the place, but I like the way they do it. I liked the fact that they had like sand fire alarms, like with sand instead of water. like sprinklers. They had sand. That was interesting. And I like that Happy had to go in because obviously she was the smallest and the nimblest, and she had to go in, and then all of a sudden she gets stuck because it's one of those things where you just, you know, you assume that she's gonna kick ass and then she gets stuck. It happens in real life, I'm sorry to say, but I like that Toby had to go get her, and then Toby couldn't get her because obviously they're a team of geniuses and they can just figure out how to get someone unstuck from a vent in the ceiling. And then she had to take off her pants, and just the whole entire thing was hilarious. I loved the Kazakh dude who just discovered them first, the one who raised the alarm and whatever. I loved when he was, I mean, the whole costumes thing. Like, Sylvester's like, I can't believe I'm not there. And then the dude's like, I can't believe these people captured me. Because really, that's pretty much the exact same thing we were all thinking when we were watching them dress up as super fun guy, you know, characters. Just the humor was on point, really. And then at the end, when the NATO helicopter is coming down to get them, and Toby's like, we must look really cool right now. I laughed so much. It was so funny. Also, I liked that they're making Ray useful. I love it. Because again, you don't need to be a super genius to actually be useful to the team. You don't even need to be normal to be useful for the thing. And there's even people who don't have a necessarily high intellectual proficient. Some people who don't even have interpersonal proficiency, I guess, like the people who are very socially awkward or who are considered weird by other people, but they can still be good people and they can still be useful. And I love that they're actually showing that with Ray. Like, he might not know how to spell scorpion, but he can fix stuff around. He can drive Sylvester around because Sylvester obviously doesn't drive. I laughed. I think my hardest laugh was the NATO thing. You know, when they arrived to NATO and the dude was like, yeah, we're the National Association of Theater Owners, you want the other NATO. I was like, what? That was hilarious. And Ray's like, oops. I mean, you know, he might not be the smartest dude, but when they need him, he's there. He helps. And okay, that's slightly better because I've been kind of iffy about them letting him live in the garage because it's kind of awkward. I mean, a garage is not a living space, generally speaking. But, you know, if he's making himself useful and he's actually fixing up the place, then sure, why not? I don't think they're charging him rent, but, you know, if he's making himself useful, sure. And his advice to Sly was really good too, you know, just because they're going through things and they're blowing up closed mines in Kazakhstan and dealing with, I don't know, brain diseases and whatever, it doesn't mean that he doesn't have life experience, and it doesn't mean that he can't relate. So I really liked that. All in all, it was it was not even pretty good, it was great. It was a really great episode. I really enjoyed it, and I think it's one of the funniest I've seen. And, you know, blowing up nuclear warheads aside, I kind of like the infiltration bit this time around, which I'm surprised at, because, you know, when they do infiltrations right, they can actually be entertaining to watch, unlike dropping in Cuba in the middle of the night with just parachutes, and that's it. So, it also makes me think, like, because they're really driving it home in this season, that, like, TV would have us believe that the US just orders unauthorized incursions, illegal incursions into other countries every other day of the week, you know? It's like, oh, that's right, there's this warhead deal going on. We need to stop it. It has nothing to do with us, but it will probably, they will probably throw it at us, so we need to get it out of the way, and nobody can find out, because obviously this is highly, highly, highly illegal. And you would think that they do that every other day. But it's just, in the context of the episode, it was just funny. So, and then the NATO thing, it's like, yeah, totally, NATO can just send a helicopter to get you because it's a humanitarian mission, sure. Nobody ever questioned that, but I guess because Scorpion is a kind of a strike team, they don't necessarily have to deal with the fallout, even if anybody put in question the fact that Homeland actually sent in people, upsetting the sovereignty of an Eastern European country without permission from any international organization. That's kind of Homeland's fault, right? Like, if anybody puts the operation in question, Scorpion doesn't really have to deal with that. That's Homeland. It's on Homeland, and that's great. So that's a good thing about this show, that they can actually do that and just say, hey, we're following orders. It's Homeland, you deal with them. And we don't see that part. I'm sure it happens every once in a while, because surely not every illegal mission into another country, a sovereign country, can actually go right. Like, somebody has to find out sometimes. I'm sure of it. Like, it can't just go unnoticed. But if there's any political ramifications from it, Homeland has to deal with it. Scorpion doesn't. So that's great. And just in general, I really like this episode. I'm actually kind of happy that Toby is kind of stepping back from the happy thing every once in a while. I still don't think she's dating another dude. I do think that she just doesn't want to be in a relationship with Toby right now. I don't know if Toby's stepping back is going to actually make her see him differently or something, but I'm all for drama, and they can't just keep Toby in the same place for the rest of the season, so something has to change. I'm glad he's decided, you know what, if she doesn't want to be with me, that's great. I'm just stepping back. I don't like that he compared it to an addiction, but I can understand why he would, because, he's been addicted to gambling before, and at the same time he's a shrink, so he knows about that stuff. That's kind of the first place your mind would veer to, so I understand why he did it. I don't think that's what it is. I don't think they're as comparable as it is, but I do think the time apart from Happy is going to give him a bit of a better perspective. And maybe it will give Happy a better perspective too, so that when they do get together, which they will, because I need them to, when they do get together, it will actually, there won't be any doubt of the fact that it's because they care about each other. So that's great. All in all, I really loved this episode. It was hysterical, it was fun, it was entertaining, and I really loved it. So, morality of the day, kids, don't pick up giant uranium cores without gloves, or without, hazmat suit and a containment chamber and blah blah blah. But apart from that, good job, Scorpion. Pretty good episode. I really, really enjoyed it. And that's about it for my review, so I will see you guys next time. Be sure to check out our website at thegeekypub.com for more Scorpion reviews, as well as reviews from other TV shows, movies, books, games, you name it, we have it. So be sure to check that out, and I will see you all next time. Bye.